It was a rainy Tuesday evening when my neighbor, Elena, cornered me in the hallway of our apartment building. Her eyes, those piercing blue eyes that always seemed to hold a storm of their own, locked onto mine as she blocked my path to the elevator. "Why do you keep avoiding me?" she demanded, her voice trembling with a mix of frustration and hurt. I froze, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. The words escaped my lips before I could stop them, "Because looking at you hurts." The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the distant rumble of thunder outside. What she said next shattered everything I thought I knew about my own pain, and hers. In that moment, as the rain pelted the windows like tiny accusations, I wondered if I'd just ruined any chance of peace in this building. Elena's face crumpled, and she stepped back as if I'd slapped her. But instead of walking away, she whispered, "Hurts? How could I possibly hurt you? We've barely spoken." I wanted to run, to escape into my apartment and lock the door on the memories she unwittingly stirred. But something in her expression, a vulnerability I'd seen before, in another life, held me there. Little did I know, this confrontation was about to unearth secrets that would change both our lives forever. My name is Alex, and I've lived in this quiet suburban apartment complex for 3 years now, ever since the accident that stole everything from me. I chose this place because it was unremarkable, beige walls, predictable neighbors, and a view of a parking lot that never changed. No drama, no reminders. Or so I thought. Elena moved in 6 months ago, into the unit right across from mine. From the first time I saw her unloading boxes, her dark hair tied back in a ponytail, laughing with the movers, I felt a stab in my chest. She looked so much like Sarah, my Sarah, that it was like staring at a ghost. Sarah, with her infectious smile and the way she'd crinkle her nose when she was thinking. The woman I'd loved for 10 years, the one who'd been taken from me in a split-second crash on a highway we'd driven 100 times before. Avoiding Elena became my survival strategy. I'd wait an extra 5 minutes in my car if I saw her leaving her apartment. I'd take the stairs instead of the elevator to dodge chance encounters. Once, I even pretended to be on a phone call when she waved hello in the lobby, mumbling excuses into a dead line. It wasn't her fault, she was kind, from what I could tell. She'd left cookies at my door once, with a note saying, "Welcome to the building, wait, no, I've been here longer, so welcome me?" Ha! Elena from 4B. I threw them away without tasting them, because even her handwriting looped in ways that echoed Sarah's. But now, here we were, face to face, and my confession hung in the air like smoke. Elena crossed her arms, her rain-dampened coat dripping onto the carpet. "Explain," she said softly, but there was steel in her tone. I sighed, rubbing my temples. "You remind me of someone I lost. Someone important." Her eyebrows furrowed, and she tilted her head, a gesture so familiar it made my throat tighten. "Who?" she asked. I hesitated, the words catching like thorns. "My wife. She died 3 years ago." Elena's eyes widened, and for a second, I thought she might bolt. But then she did something unexpected, she reached out and touched my arm. "I'm so sorry, Alex. But, how do I remind you of her? We've never even talked properly." I pulled away gently, the contact too much. "It's your face, your laugh, I hear it through the walls sometimes. It's like she's back, but she's not." She nodded slowly, processing. "That's heavy. But avoiding me isn't fair to either of us. Maybe we should talk about it." I shook my head. "I can't." As I turned to leave, she called after me, "What if I told you I know what that pain feels like? What if I said I've been avoiding you too?" Her words stopped me cold. "Avoiding me? Why?" I spun back around, the elevator forgotten. "What do you mean?" Elena bit her lip, glancing down the empty hallway as if afraid someone might overhear. "Come inside," she said, gesturing to her door. It's not something to discuss out here. My mind raced. Part of me screamed to walk away, to preserve the fragile walls I'd built around my grief. But curiosity, and maybe a spark of something else, pulled me forward. As I stepped into her apartment, the scent of vanilla candles hit me, warm and inviting, just like Sarah's old favorites. Elena closed the door behind us, and that's when she dropped the bomb. I think I knew your wife. The revelation hung there, impossible and electric. Knew Sarah? How? Elena's apartment was a mirror of mine in layout but worlds apart in feel, bookshelves overflowing with novels, plants thriving in every corner, a cozy throw blanket on the couch that screamed lived in comfort. She motioned for me to sit, pouring us both tea from a kettle that was still steaming on the stove. How could you have known her? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Elena sat across from me, her hands wrapped around her mug like a lifeline. Sarah and I went to the same college. We were in a sorority together, though I was a year behind her. She was incredible. Kind to everyone, even the shy freshmen like me. I stared at her, pieces clicking into place. Sarah had mentioned sorority sisters, but I'd never met most of them. You look like her, I said, the words tasting bitter. Not just a little. A lot. Elena smiled sadly. People used to say we could be sisters. We even joked about it. But after college, we lost touch. Life happened. She paused, her eyes misting over. When I heard about the accident, I was devastated. And then, moving here, seeing you, her husband, it's been like reliving that loss all over again. I leaned back, the weight of it all pressing down. So you've been avoiding me because I remind you of her too? Elena nodded. Exactly. Every time I see you, I see the life she could have had. The happiness. It hurts. We sat in silence for a moment, the tea cooling untouched. It was surreal, this shared grief binding us like invisible threads. But as the conversation deepened, Elena shared more, how Sarah had mentored her through a tough breakup in college, how they'd stayed up late talking about dreams and fears. Hearing these stories was like getting fragments of Sarah back, pieces I'd never known. Yet, it also opened old wounds. Why didn't you say anything sooner? I asked. She shrugged. Fear, I guess. What if you didn't want to hear it? What if it made things worse? I understood that all too well. As the evening wore on, we talked for hours, laughter mixing with tears. But just as I felt a tentative bridge forming, Elena's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her face paling. Oh no, she muttered. I have to go. Family emergency. She rushed me out, promising to explain later. As the door clicked shut, I was left wondering, what emergency? And why did it feel like she was hiding something bigger? The next few days blurred into a haze of confusion and anticipation. I found myself listening for her footsteps in the hall, hoping for another chance to talk. Work dragged. I'm a graphic designer, freelancing from home, which gave me too much time to overthink. Memories of Sarah flooded back, our first date at that little Italian place, the way she'd dance in the kitchen while making pancakes, her unwavering support when I quit my corporate job to pursue art. Losing her in that car wreck, caused by a drunk driver, had left me a shell. Therapy helped some, but avoidance became my crutch. Now, Elena had cracked that shell. But her abrupt exit nagged at me. Was the family emergency real, or an excuse to escape the intensity? On Friday, I couldn't take it anymore. I knocked on her door, a bottle of wine in hand as a peace offering. No answer. I tried again Saturday morning, still nothing. Worry crept in. Had something happened? By evening, I was pacing my apartment when I heard voices outside. Peeking through the peephole, I saw Elena with a man, tall, dark-haired, gesturing animatedly. They hugged, and he kissed her cheek before leaving. Jealousy flared, unbidden and irrational. Who was he? And why did it bother me so much? That night, I barely slept, tormented by questions. The next morning, a note slipped under my door. Alex, sorry for vanishing. Meet me at the park bench by the lake at noon. I need to tell you everything. Elena. My heart raced. What was everything? The park was alive with families picnicking, dogs chasing frisbees, the lake sparkling under the sun. Elena was already there, sitting with her knees drawn up, staring at the water. She looked tired, shadows under her eyes. Thanks for coming, she said as I sat down. That emergency, it was my brother. He's been in and out of rehab. She took a deep breath. Addiction. It's torn our family apart. I listened as she poured out the story, her brother's struggles with opioids after a sports injury, the relapses, the strain on their parents. The other night, he called in crisis. I had to go help. Empathy washed over me. I'm sorry. That sounds exhausting. She nodded. It is. But talking to you about Sarah, it reminded me how she helped me through my own dark times back then. She was the one who encouraged me to support my brother without losing myself. We walked along the path, sharing more. I opened up about my guilt over the accident, how I'd been arguing with Sarah on the phone moments before, distracting her. It wasn't your fault, Elena said firmly. Blame the driver who chose to drink. Her words were a bomb, but as we rounded a bend, she stopped. There's more. That man you might have seen. He's my ex. We were trying to reconcile, but after talking to you, I realized I'm not ready. I need to heal first. Relief mingled with surprise. Why tell me? She turned to face me, those blue eyes searching mine. Because you're part of this now. Our pains are connected through Sarah. And maybe, we can help each other. The idea terrified and thrilled me. Over the next weeks, we did just that. Coffee dates turned into long walks, sharing photos of Sarah, laughing over her quirky habits. Elena introduced me to her support group for families of addicts. I showed her my art, sketches inspired by memories. Challenges arose. A relapse from her brother sent her spiraling, and I withdrew, fearing attachment. We argued once, me accusing her of using me as a Sarah substitute. No, she shot back. I'm seeing you, Alex. The real you. That fight was a turning point. We apologized, grew closer. But life threw another curve. One evening, as we cooked dinner in her apartment, pasta, Sarah's favorite, Elena's phone rang. It was the hospital, her brother had overdosed. We rushed there, the drive tense with fear. In the waiting room, I held her hand as she cried. I can't lose him, she sobbed. Hours later, good news, he was stable. That night forged us stronger. I realized avoidance had kept me from living. Elena taught me connection heals. Months passed. Our friendship bloomed into something more, tentative dates, stolen kisses. The pain of looking at her faded, replaced by joy in who she was, fierce, compassionate, uniquely Elena. We visited Sarah's grave together, sharing stories, finding closure. Her brother entered a long-term program, turning a corner. 1 year after that hallway confrontation, we stood on a beach at sunset. Alex, Elena said, looking at you doesn't hurt anymore. It heals. I proposed, ring in hand. She said yes. Life's scars don't vanish, but they can become part of a beautiful story. Embrace the pain, it leads to growth. If this story touched you, like and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. Thanks for watching.